Have you ever caught your commanding officer doing something that completely ruined their intimidating image? I did, and it changed everything about how our entire company saw him. Colonel Jake Morrison was the scariest Marine I'd ever met. 6'4", voice like a freight train, 25 years of service etched into every line on his face. This guy could make grown men cry just by looking at them wrong. He'd served 3 tours in Iraq, had a chest full of ribbons, and never smiled. Ever. We called him the Iceman behind his back because nothing seemed to affect him. Combat? No problem. Casualties? Stone-faced. Politicians visiting? Completely unfazed. The man was a walking intimidation machine. His morning briefings felt like court-martials. When he walked through the barracks, conversation stopped mid-sentence. Even senior NCOs got nervous around him. I was pulling late-night security duty at the admin building when it happened. Around midnight, making my rounds, checking doors and windows. Everything quiet, just me and the desert wind outside Camp Pendleton. That's when I heard it. Singing. Coming from the colonel's office. Not just any singing. High-pitched, baby talk singing. Like someone talking to a pet or a small child. I thought maybe he was on a video call with family, but the tone was all wrong. I crept closer to investigate. His office light was on, door slightly cracked. What I saw through that gap completely destroyed every intimidating image I had of this man. Colonel Morrison was sitting at his desk in full dress uniform, having what appeared to be a tea party, with stuffed animals, 3 teddy bears arranged in chairs around his desk, little plastic teacups set out in front of each one, and he was having an actual conversation with them, using different voices for each bear. "Would you like more tea, Mr. Buttons?" he asked in a sweet, gentle voice I'd never heard before. "Oh, you've had enough? What about you, Princess Sparkles?" I watched in absolute shock as this terrifying Marine officer carefully poured imaginary tea and passed around invisible cookies to his stuffed animal guests. He was completely absorbed in this elaborate pretend game. Then he pulled out his phone and started taking selfies with the bears, making silly faces, adjusting their positions, even putting his cover on one of them for photos. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. This was the same man who'd reduced a sergeant to tears that morning for having a wrinkled uniform. The same officer who'd given a 20-minute lecture about military bearing and professionalism. I must have made a noise because suddenly he looked up. Our eyes met through the crack in the door. The color drained from his face. He quickly shoved the bears into his desk drawer like a teenager hiding contraband. I snapped to attention, knocked on the door frame. "Everything okay, sir?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He straightened his uniform, cleared his throat. "Fine, Corporal, just reviewing some paperwork. Continue your rounds." For the next week, things were incredibly awkward. He barely made eye contact with me. I kept expecting to get transferred to some horrible assignment in the middle of nowhere. Then on Friday, he called me into his office. I was sure this was it. My military career was over because I'd witnessed the Iceman's secret teddy bear tea party. "Corporal Davis," he said, closing the door behind me. "We need to talk about what you saw the other night." Before I could respond, he opened his desk drawer and pulled out the 3 bears. Set them carefully on his desk like they were classified documents. "My daughter Emma is 7 years old," he explained. "Lives with her mother in San Diego. I only get to see her every other weekend because of my schedule. She started this tradition when she was 4. Every time I'm deployed or working late, we have tea parties over video chat. She has her bears at home, I have mine here." He picked up the one he'd called Mr. Buttons. "This is how I stay connected to her. How I remember that being a father matters more than being a scary Marine." His whole demeanor had changed. The intimidating facade was completely gone, replaced by something real and vulnerable. She made me promise to take care of her bear friends when she's not around. So every night after she goes to bed, I check on them, make sure they're not lonely. I stood there processing this information. The scariest officer in the Marine Corps was basically a single dad doing whatever it took to maintain a relationship with his little girl. The next Monday during morning formation, someone made a joke about the colonel being heartless. Without thinking, I spoke up. "Sir has plenty of heart. You guys just don't know how to see it." The colonel caught my eye across the formation, gave me the slightest nod of acknowledgement. That afternoon, I found a small teddy bear on my bunk with a note. "Emma says Mr. Cuddles needs a good Marine to watch over him. Think you're up for the job?" Now half the company knows about the colonel's tea parties. Turns out several other guys are fathers too. Thursday nights have become unofficial daddy-daughter call time. The colonel's office isn't the only one with stuffed animal visitors anymore. Last month, Emma visited the base for Family Day, watched her dad lead a formation of 200 Marines, then ran straight to him for a hug. He scooped her up, spun her around, and introduced her to everyone as his commanding officer. The Iceman title stuck, but for different reasons now. Ice cold when duty requires it, but it melts completely when his daughter calls.